Let me fly into the moonlight. Just give me space to breathe. Let me see inside the darkness, just to wash away the fear. The cold surrounds me now, in a sea of lines and dots. The moment life's about, it's quiet now. All I hear is raindrops, 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 raindrops. All I hear is raindrops.
Welcome back. Shoremen on the sideline. Week 3. Earl Vara, he's in the country, but he's stuck in quarantine. And we welcome back Zach Beer, assistant coach, back on the show. How are we, boys?
Good, thanks, JB.
Very good, mate. Good to be back.
Firstly with Earl, quarantine, how is it?
Yep, holed up in a hotel in the city somewhere. So, great service and, making me feel comfortable, so which is good. Get up in the morning, do my headspace, and then do a little bit of exercise just at the foot of my bed, and then get into work. So it's pretty comfortable. I think I'm coming to the end of day 6 now, so 8 days to go.
Nice. Well, we'll look forward to welcoming you back soon. Zacko, back by popular demand. How are you?
Good, mate. Good to be back. Enjoying watching the show. I think Carl Stefanovic's got to watch his back for this hosting, mate. You're doing a good job. But no, great to be back. Great to be back. Another exciting week this week for us against Manly.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll rip into that quite soon. It's obviously a thanks to the viewers that keep us coming back. The viewership's been great week 2. So here we are again. And again, we've got another sponsor, and that's Fit Lane Cove this week. Fit Lane Cove, our gym, one of our homes, has been with us now for 4 seasons. Continues to up the ante each year, and have got a great facility there in Lane Cove. And as no doubt Zach will talk about later, we utilised that last night with the washout of training. But look, we'll rip in around the grounds. We had obviously a good win in first grade, a good win in second grade again, and a big win in first Colts, which puts us to the top of the ladder in all those 3 grades and the club championships, which is great. But obviously, no 2 wins makes a winter, and so there's plenty left to play. Elsewhere, third grade had a narrow defeat. Fourth grade, with a few superstars, had a really good win. And likewise over in the lower Colts, had a win and a loss apiece with Gordon. And unfortunately, the women's, well, they got washed out with all the rain. So let's turn our attention to first grade. And Earl, you're still watching via a Zoom and via a replay. What did you make of the game?
Look, again, I'm proud of the boys, the effort that they put in defence. To keep Penrith scoreless again was great. One word that I've heard from our performance on the weekend was a slow start. I don't think it was a slow start. I think we started quick out of the blocks. We just didn't come away with any rewards for all the pressure pressure and possession we had. So we've got to be a little bit better in that moving forward, and especially against Manly this weekend. Yeah,
no doubt. It looked like a scrappy sort of first half with a lot of knock-ons each way and a lot of penalties. Zach, you're on the sideline and albeit the in-goal line. What did you make of the game in the moment?
Yeah, look, I think Penrith were much better than they have been in the past. I think Muggleton's done a good job. They were well organised, and you can tell that they'd had a pretty good shortened pre-season under him. I think Earl's right. It wasn't necessarily a slow start. It was more so like executing key moments. So we get down there, we get a penalty, and we'd miss a kick to touch, or we'd be building continuity, and there'd be an error in the in the tackle contest. So it wasn't as much like a slow start. It was just we were getting in a position to strike, but we just were one phase too short there. We adjusted a few things at halftime, and then the boys really opened up in the second half, played some good footy. And as Earl said, I think for us as coaches, the most impressive thing was second week of a lockout, no tries.
That's probably, JB, just on that point, that's probably been the impressive thing about the boys in the past 2 weeks is that they figure the problem out on the go, and they talk about it in the huddles or at halftime, and then they go and execute it, and that's been that's testament to Zach and Sapi's coaching, but also to our leadership group, and Stixie and Biz and Gus and the boys around them. So hopefully that continues throughout the season.
Yeah, great. Good little bit of insight there, and no doubt, the leaders that have been around there a while are doing a really good job. And as I said last week, I don't think West Harbour pressured us too much in the 22 in the first half, and I noticed we scrambled pretty well against Penrith. Zach, how was it being back at Bon Andrews? First time in 11 years since we played a first grade game there. Had a good little feel to it. What did you make of being at Bon Andrews?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, this year since November, we've been talking about as a club getting that whole of club feeling going. A little bit different and difficult with COVID from what we had planned. We're not going to be filling the Molly Dive and other stands around North Sydney Oval, but I'll tell you what, like the Colts and the lower grades and the women's did a great job in socially distanced, but filling the hills. So each of the little rising hills on each dead ball line, we had good support. We had our members and our Shoremen's lounge on the sidelines, and it was a really good feel. It gets windy up there. It picks up a good breeze, and the rain started to fall in the second half. But it felt pretty special walking out of North Sydney Oval's sheds up to Bon Andrews and running on. So it certainly feels like home now.
Yeah, great. And we've got one more game there in a couple of weeks.
This is probably the level of footage I'm getting. I didn't even realise it was raining. So that's probably how poor the footage is on poor Panda's phone. I was just thinking, the boys are going all right.
It didn't rain too heavy. We got pretty lucky there, and it sort of came in late in the second half and just after we'd finished packing up. So we did get pretty lucky there with the weather. But just touching on the whole of club feel, and you don't have to go into too much details, but a lot of our calls are based around North Sydney, around the club, around people that have played at the club a long time. Earl, can you touch on a little bit of what you're trying to bring to the first grade team with a couple of our names and sort of the connection to the old boys there?
Well, obviously, Northern Suburbs got a huge history that goes way back, and there's some famous players, Bon Andrews, Thornettes, Jims and Johns, and Roger. What was his name?
Cornforth.
Yes, sorry. I met the son when I first arrived here. So, he told me about the story about his father and going to the Olympics, and so we want our club right throughout to use the same language with the history. We want everyone to be on the same page, because if a player comes from third grade to second or second to first, nothing changes. There's only small little things that they have to change in their roles, but right across the park, our language is the same, and so that just comes from the history and something that Zach, myself, and Sapi and both Stixie and Dex bought in quite early when I was hired.
Yeah, it's definitely been well received with the playing group, learning a little bit more about a few of the past legends, and even I think chatting to a couple of those guys around the grounds, they're delighted that they're still being recognised in that way. Zach, you're a big part of round one when we had life member and former Wallaby Pete Carson present a couple of jerseys to the debutants. This week we've got another debutant and a 50 cap player, and we've got a special guest delivering the jersey this week. Can you give us a bit of insight into that?
Yeah, so we're lucky enough to have Tomsy come in and present the jerseys this week against Manly. The boys also, Tomsy was quite touched himself from the boys that actually announced that our player of the day is going to be called the Tomsy, and sort of the big moment or the hard nut of the day is going to be called the Bon Andrews, who played, I think, close to 650 odd grade games for Norths. So Tomsy's going to present the jerseys to our debutant, who we'll name in a minute, and a 50 cap start in Bortsey. But that'll be a special moment as well. And I think it's great what Earl's done in linking with the history. We are starting to run out of names. So a few of our players have turned into bars and pubs and clubs around the North Shore. But yeah, it's good. The boys are getting creative. But I think it'll be a special moment once again. It was great to have Carso come into the sheds. And once again this weekend with Tomsy.
How many games you played, JB? We might need your name for a call sometime.
Yeah, look, I think I might be touching on double figures if I get on this week. So we'll see how we go. Hey, we do have a starting debutant in the front row. And Earl, I'll get you to run through the forwards, but there's not a whole lot of change this week.
No, there's not. So we've just changed one player in our loose forward trio. Charlie Jim Fellows, he got concussed on the weekend, so he's out. And we've decided to go for a taller loose forward trio to contest Manly's lineout. And so Heinrich moves from 8 to 7, and George Murren comes in to start at the back of the scrum. And then, as you said, Isaac Kavu, he replaces Jaden Lynch at tight head prop. But we're pretty happy with how everyone's going. I think the one thing that I've picked up is that how well and how fast the new players have fitted in. The Brads and the Brad Himmelpaws and the Heinrich Brendels, they're playing really well both sides of the ball. Their work rate's phenomenal. Even Isaac, he's only had a couple of cameos off the bench, but he's held down the scrum pretty well, and his work rate around the field, he brings something a little bit electric, as you would expect from Fijians. And then your own brother Max has been great and fitted in really well, and I guess it helps that he's got a family member there, but he's his own man and he does his own thing, and his run, pass and kick decision making has been really great for us. So that's the one thing. But you can't fit in if you're not allowed to fit in. And the main thing is that Stixie and Dex and those guys have just opened their arms up to all the new players, including myself, and just made us feel at home.
Yeah, great. And Zach, in the back line, you must be really happy because for the third week in a row, you've had no changes. Yeah,
unchanged. Reasonably happy with where things are at from the backs perspective. Just got to execute little bit better early in the game. I think having the number of games played together from a cohesion perspective, say with Harry Bury and Nathan Russell in the midfield, Nick Duffy, Angus Sinclair. Then you've got Reese and Kepu Lokatui on the wings and Max Bury again at 15. You build combinations and cohesion in the off season, but I think in playing and getting time in the saddle week after week with each other, the little nuances of each other's games start to come out, and we're probably a couple of games off that. I've said to the boys from an attacking perspective with the backs, like, we don't want to be waiting till round 9, 10, 11 to be clicking in terms of our attack, which can often happen in the season. We want to be humming early on. So the boys are pretty driven in making that happen. Cohesion helps us getting there, and we're lucky enough to be able to roll out the same backline third week in a row, as you say.
I think another thing about that, Jack, is that the pressure that the boys in second grade are putting on these guys that get the opportunity to play first grade each week. they know they're only a bad performance of dropping down. So the dedication to them learning their roles and executing their skills and contributing on the field when they get the opportunity has been great for them. You know, guys like Ed Gregory, Harry Cudmore, Jack Hayson, you know, they're playing some fantastic football in the backline and twos, and you know, Matt White, Leon Akopian, those guys are really putting their hand up in the pack as well. So along with others, so it's been great for our whole squad.
Yeah, great. And well, that ticks off my next question without even asking. And who's been performing well in second grade? Because you know they've had a great start to the year, and as I said earlier, so too have First Colts. We'll turn our attention to this week coming. Zach, I know this game will be feel a little bit like home for you, and we'll get to that in a minute. But Earl, we can't afford to have a slow start or an execution lapse. Manly, no doubt, will be chomping at the bit to keep up the top of the ladder in this shortened season. What can we make of Manly this weekend?
Oh, strong set piece. They're very strong in set piece. They've got lightning quick backs, but also backs who can carry like forwards. Forwards who are tough and uncompromising and can play like backs. They're loaded right across the park, so we're going to have to be on our toes. And as you said, we can't afford to let them get their towels up. So we're going to have to be a lot more clinical in what we do and how we execute our game plan in those opening exchanges.
And Zach, a few familiar faces in the Manly lineup. As you said a couple of weeks ago, you've spent a long time there and know a few of the players. Have you been able to bring a few of those insights into the week's prep this week?
Potentially, yeah. Look, we without giving too much away. I mean, there's only so much prep and preview you can do. Look, I obviously coached here for a while. Coached a lot of the guys from Colts right through grade, so I know them pretty well. In saying that, mate, from what we've seen. And we've got the luxury of Earl sort of being hibernating in isolation and digging through footage from years gone by. They've changed a fair bit in terms of how they play. I mean, the sort of flamboyant, electric Manly of the past is they're definitely more of a heavy kicking team, set piece orientated, and you do see some flashes of that sort of flamboyant, attack come out. So this weekend we've just got to be ready for whichever Manly turns up out of the two.
And just give us a little bit of insight into our preparation this week. As I mentioned earlier, we're in at Fit Gym last night, washed off Primrose and washed off every other ground. How's the coaching group and even the playing group adapted to missing probably the main session of the week?
I'll let Zach answer that one because he was on the ground yesterday. But what I can say is that the prep for Manly started for us on Sunday. The boys have got 100 points to get to do their recovery. They've got to review their game on Huddle. They've got to check in with Injury Clinic. They've got to preview videotapes of Manly. So all that stuff, gets done before we even get online with them on Monday nights. And then, obviously with the weather, we weren't the only ones that were probably running for cover last night and looking for a ground or a facility. But thanks to Matt and Dukes and Heidi at Fit Lane Cove, we were able to get a good session. So I'll let Zach tell you what we did in that session.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Earl. And the work we did in the COVID break is for these sort of weeks, in getting clarity on how we want to play, what our expectations are, what's required of us to perform well, what our measurables are. So those sort of things that we did in COVID are for these moments. Sure, we couldn't get out on the grass, but Fit Gym's like a wonderful facility there. We had a sort of big gymnasium room that we could use and get through our shape The forwards did their line out and set piece out on the balcony, which saw AstroTurfed. So, sure, it was a little obstacle, but this year we really want to focus on powering through those obstacles. And it was good because we could still get our clarity done, and we just adjust Thursday's session. And as Earl said, a lot of the preview, etc., has already been done before we even arrive at training on Tuesday.
Yeah, great. And obviously heading to Manly Oval this weekend, a bit of rain about throughout the week. Might be a slippery cricket pitch, but nevertheless.
She'll be muddy, I think. She'll be muddy.
Yeah, definitely. But you always get a good deck there at Manly. So, look, for all the supporters out there, jump onto our website. You'll get a link to purchase some tickets. They are limited. But if you can't make the game, we are the TV game this week on Channel 7-2. So no doubt there'll be a few fresh haircuts getting around the team. Zach and Earl.
I might not need Zoom.
You'll be on the broadcast. What,
I think the broadcast is probably maybe 5 or 10 seconds a little bit delayed. Then, so when I'm talking to Zach, that they'll probably say to me, "Hey, that was 10 seconds ago. What are you on about?"
Hopefully, technology will pull you through, mate. One final message before we let you both go ahead of the weekend.
Yeah, no, just again, it was great to be home and see the support at Bon Andrews. For our sponsors and our supporters, get to the ground this week or jump online and watch it on telly, and we appreciate all your support.
Yeah, just echoing Earl's comments. Same here. Thanks for all the support. Also, have a look at Curl Park if you get a chance early in the day at our Colts. I think Benny Malloy and Tommy Clifford and the coaches in Colts are doing a really good job. They're my specials this year. Our Colts team, they're doing some really good things. We've got some top talent there. They've got a good feeling in the group. So for all our supporters, try and get a look either on it's on, I think it's Clutch TV, they stream it, or go down to Curl Park and have a look. And at the lower grades, hopefully we can see some red and black out at Manly Oval.
Yeah, fantastic. 11:50 is that kick-off at Curl Park for First Colts, and all normal times at Manly Oval. Thanks for your time this morning, boys, and we'll see you. We'll see Zach at Manly Oval, and we'll see Earl in a couple of days' time.
Thanks, team.
Beauty. Thanks, Jacko. Cheers, mate.